So one of the things that you talked about was how long the claims are taking to be approved. And what I've heard from multiple veterans is it's starting to feel to them like they're applying to insurance, where they're being forced to prove in great detail, repetitively, again and again, what the challenges are and what they're facing. And so it doesn't feel like a service provision where you go and say, I served the country. Here I am at this side. What can we do to make my life work with all of the challenges that I have? And of course, we hear both from caregivers and veterans that they're often retelling their stories again and again, and how frustrating that is because it feels like no one on the other side knows, and how it is re-traumatizing. And especially for some folks, some of the veterans who have huge psychological issues, this can mean now a couple of weeks of the caregiver having to give higher level of support. So I'm just wondering if you could talk about that and the impact that it has, because it is a study on caregivers. What is the impact on the caregivers, and how does that impact in turn the veteran?
Good question. So I, let me just say there are some very good individuals with Veterans Affairs. I have to say that. I've had that experience. I've also had experiences with people that have been terrible, and a lack of quality assurance program and a lack of the ability for the veterans to be able to provide feedback means that system will never, ever change. It's a huge issue for all our veterans. Trust is a huge issue for all of our veterans. And the idea that their word is being disbelieved, or they're having to provide excessive evidence to support their position, again, creates a lot of angst, a lot of anxiety, a lot of irritability. This can come out as verbal aggression, etc. About 49%, 50% of people, our veterans with PTSD, will lose their relationship as a result of their symptomatology, the stress that's there constantly. So the stress that's put on the caregiver, imagine feeling responsible for the person you love so much, but not having the power to change anything. It's the absolute worst position to be in. Huge responsibility, no power to change it. And you know, the thing is, Veterans Affairs exists because our veterans have served the country. We're actually the employers of Veterans Affairs, but we're not seen that way. We're seen as being dependent. We're disempowered, and the delays and unnecessary denials are having a very tragic effect on family members, caregivers, and the veterans themselves. And I just, you know, we're going to lose a lot of people if it doesn't change.
Thank you, Dr. Passey. I'm going to come back to you again, and I want to thank you for acknowledging the great workers that are in VAC. And I agree with you. There's amazing workers, and you know, I think one of the biggest challenges is they're being put into a box that is like these outputs are more important than the human connection, and that does concern